The new report is out warning that if more effort isn't made to adapt to climate change, Canadians are going to see lower incomes and will have to choose between higher taxes or fewer government services.
So for a closer look at the findings, we're joined by Ryan Ness, Adaptation Research Director for the Canadian Climate Institute. Ryan, we're kind of dealing with a climate crisis right now with what we've seen with Fiona and now Hurricane Ian. No doubt the immediate costs of just fixing all the infrastructure, the recovery efforts in those places. But in the long term, talk about why climate change is going to cost us in so many other ways.
So we definitely see the impact of the effect of disasters like Fiona, the cost of the cleanup, the cost of the recovery. Obviously, the money has to come from somewhere. It comes from the pockets of people, it comes from businesses, and it comes from governments and ultimately our tax dollars. But beyond this immediate economic damage from specific events, there's indirect rebound effects, I guess, through the economy that come in the form of less efficient production as goods from one part of the country can't move or can't be produced effectively and get to other parts of the country that need them. Supply chains get cut. Delays happen in the ways that businesses run their processes, and that all combines over time to reduce the productivity of our economy, reduce our economic growth, and ultimately hit the pocketbooks of individuals.
All right, so it all comes down to, like, all of us are going to be sort of feeling the pain here, lower economic growth, lower GDP. As far as you understand, Ryan, do Canadians understand this, or is this going to be sort of almost breaking news to people that, hey, this is going to impact your wallet, this is going to impact your earning potential?
I think for many people, there's a sense that the economic hit really is localized to areas that are affected by disasters like Fiona, or like the floods, heat waves, and fires we saw in British Columbia in 2021. But what we're showing is that these effects propagate through the economy and ultimately affect everybody in Canada. And it may be eye-opening to folks to realize that this is hurting their bank accounts. People are getting less income because our economy is growing more slowly because of these climate change impacts. Just in 2025 alone, the effects of climate change over the past 10 years from 2015 will reduce people's incomes by about $800 a year, lower than they would have otherwise received.
Right. And Ryan, as dire as this sounds, it isn't all doomsday. You do say that there are proactive adaptation measures which can kind of mitigate some of the effects of this. So can you get into what that is? Absolutely.
There are two big things that we can do to head off these costs and potential economic disaster. The first, of course, is to keep working at reducing greenhouse gas emissions and achieve Canada's and help other countries around the world achieve their commitments to control global warming to a manageable level. The lower the amount of global warming that we can achieve, the less climate change, the less volatile and unpredictable weather Canada is going to have to manage. But because the emissions of the past have locked us into a certain amount of climate change for at least a few more decades, no matter what we do with emissions from this point forward, we're going to have to prepare and adapt to some degree of climate change. So that means investing now in strengthening our infrastructure and protecting our communities against anticipated much worse weather than what we see right now, so that it's not as disruptive and as devastating. And we show that the combined benefits of reducing greenhouse gas emissions and proactively adapting to climate change can reduce the economic hit of climate change for Canada by 75%.
Ryan, is it fair to summarize, we've got about 30 seconds to go, that if we spend some money now, we're effectively saving money down the line? There's an upfront cost, but it's sort of worth it in the long run, according to your research.
Yeah, absolutely. Adaptation alone pays for itself many times over. We find that when you consider not only the direct benefits of people not being impacted as directly and severely at the point of impact like Fiona, but the indirect impact or benefits through our economy add up to $15 saved for every dollar we spend now on adaptation.
Okay, really eye-opening stuff. Ryan Ness, Adaptation Research Director for the Canadian Climate Institute. Appreciate your time. Thank you.